Yeah.
Breaking news. Richard Hart is here.
Yay! The Richard Hart is live and in person. What's going on, guys?
Richard, have you been
Hello,
keeping
Richard.
up? Did you know what's been happening in the last few days? Because I know it's been a while you've been on the show.
Yeah,
Did you
man.
know?
I heard that a bunch of people that didn't, pay attention when I called the top on the Bitcoin price on the day a year and a half ago are really sad that the price keeps going down. So I guess they got screwed. And then I hear that the guys that haven't been listening to me since 2017 about taking your coins off of exchanges and not trying to pick up pennies in front of freight trains by making single-digit % yield per year, but risking losing your whole stack. All those guys got screwed. And when I said literally take your coins off Celsius, take your coins off BlockFi a year ago, I guess all those guys got screwed. And so you knew what would happen when I came on here. There's at least 2 minutes of me patting myself on the back for getting absolutely everything right, and everyone else calling me a scammer the whole time. Why?
Richard, I would want to, Kim, I'll let you take the mic right after this, but would you say at least one thing? Nobody, and at least in my opinion, nobody knew that the Black Swan event was going to happen. No one assumed.
You got no.
FTX would collapse.
No. 100% wrong. 100% wrong. Every single exchange is likely to screw you out of your money. And if you don't realize that, you haven't been in this game long enough. Everybody likes CZ and Binance right now. I know people that can't get money off Binance. I don't care how many selfies you send. I don't care how many hostage videos you send with selfie notes next to your head. You're not getting your money. Okay. If you give your money to someone else in crypto, it's very likely you're never going to see it again. And I don't care who your counterparty is. And they always have a good excuse for it. Oh, we got hacked. Oh, there's a subpoena. Oh, there's an injunction. Oh, a counterparty went down, right? Like BlockFi's excuse is that FTX went down. I don't give a shit what your excuse is. Cryptocurrency was invented to get rid of counterparty risk. Cryptocurrency was invented to put you in charge of your money. And so what do all you idiots do that don't take my good advice that I give you for free for half a decade? You give your coins to somebody else and you lose them. The exact opposite of why crypto was invented, because you're idiots. I've been preaching the same thing for 5 years. I told you to take your coins out of Celsius. You didn't, you got wrecked. I told you to take your coins out of BlockFi. You didn't, you got wrecked. And it will continue to happen. It will 100% continue to happen. It will not stop. It is happening to people right now that are just afraid to speak up. Who else is willing to even say a single thing against CZ or Binance? That's not me. It's just me.
Kim did. Kim. Actually, I want to give props. Kim stood up to him live on stage here. Invited him. CZ and Kim had a debate. But I do agree that most people wouldn't. Even me, I'd be like, I'd think 3 times before criticizing.
Richard, I'm killing myself also for 5 years telling people that their reserves are fake and all that all of them are shit coins, including Bitcoin. And you know what? Like, I'm gonna get shit again, but quite seriously, the elephant in the room is that not only this crypto thing is like you should pull your keys out of the exchange essentially because it's not your coins. It's the same thing as the normal banking system. When you deposit your money in the bank, it's not your money anymore. It's their money. They can do whatever they want with it. And so is the same thing. So at the end of the day, I think the elephant in the room is that what's happening now is that people are trying to consolidate their treasuries, but they're doing it wrong. And they're going onto fiat-backed shitcoins that are also going to fail. And then it's going to propagate onto people trying to get their money from the normal banking system. And that also is going to fail. And people don't listen that ultimately it's going to be either gold or you're broke. And, quite frankly, you can give me as much shit as you want, but I think it's normal that you have a little bit of a diversification of mind and portfolio. You don't need a Peter Schiff here. I mean, quite frankly, it's 3,000 years of evolution and Bitcoin is basically outdated. So as far as I'm concerned, I always say, and I'll say it again, you vote with your feet, you vote with your wallet. I'm in Switzerland. I'm balls deep in gold, and I'm very happy this way.
So the issue is you have gold's not a productive asset. So basically the way speculation works is the maximum gains happen for the things that are the newest. And as things age and have been around longer, they become demarginalized. So
buy Dogecoin then.
Well, no, Dogecoin is Dogecoin's a little weird because the world's richest guy just took it under its arm and decided to shill it for a laugh. If he didn't do that, Dogecoin would still be terrible, and it kind of is still terrible. But because the world's richest guy uses it as like vanity project for no. So I was telling people earlier on my own space that if you're in a coin that's not a smart contract network, you will always suck middleman D, always, for the rest of your life, because you can't de-risk into a stable. And some stables are less risky than others. So for instance, USDC and USDT have admin keys whereby anyone that works at those companies can just invalidate your coins at will, literally, the exact opposite of why crypto was invented. You have less counterparty risk with something like DAI, but unfortunately, DAI is backed in large part by USDT and USDC. And so if those guys decided to flip their admin keys...
So I have some breaking news here that just came in from Cointelegraph.
Oh, sorry, just let me...
Go ahead.
Richard, we
Go
do
ahead.
this in the space with breaking news, and then we'll get back to it. Go ahead, chat.
All right, so this is from Cointelegraph. This goes back to Terra now. South Korean prosecutors are now calling on Terra co-founder Shin Hong-seong to cooperate. Authorities allege that Shin Hong-seong earned roughly $105 million in profits from illegal sales of Luna tokens before Terra's collapse.
So here's what's so funny to me. All you stupid people that couldn't listen to me, that just got wrecked on that centralized exchange, the opposite of crypto, you think this guy owes you money. You think he did something illegal. I got bad news for you. Go read your terms of service when you signed up for that crap and sent your selfie in, okay? And let me know if you're a secured creditor and have a UCC1 form. Oh, but they're based in the Bahamas, so pretty unlikely. Or if you're an unsecured creditor and they could do anything they want with the money and you could eat crap, it's not your money anymore.
Yeah,
so all you guys
it's not actually the case, Richard. So in the terms and conditions, it was meant to be custody, and it was illegal for them to use it. So it wasn't like Celsius where they had permission to use it.
I defer to Simon.
And they've moved into
Mario.
Chapter 11
Peter
in the
Schiff was in the
US.
audience. If you want to bring him up.
Peter
Oh,
Schiff, yeah, I'll bring up Peter
please
Schiff
do
now.
not. Oh my
No,
God.
of course I will. Of course I will.
Yeah. Hello,
I'm gonna have to savage Peter again.
Join us.
Oh my God. So gold. Gold is something you dig out of the ground.
This is where Richie, Peter, this is Peter's perfect moment to say, this is probably our
but
most difficult
here's
time
what's
to
funny.
debate, Peter.
Gold.
Peter and I agree on some
2,000
stuff.
years though.
Peter, just to let Peter, hold on. Peter, I just sent you through a DM, so if you check your DMs on Twitter, you'll see an invite to come up on stage.
Yeah,
and
Richard. To be fair, this is the time when Peter looks at the 1 year
It's
chart
fine.
and sees that Hex crashed harder than Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it's only up
and
60,000% now.
Yeah,
Like
if
Hex
you-
is
if
only
you-
up
if you
60,000%.
If you started there right at the beginning, but how
Yeah,
it's performed for those that have listened to your talks around why they should buy it. So
Bitcoin
Bitcoin
dropped 75%.
Give us a, and
Yeah.
I told you so.
If
Bitcoin
I held on
drops-
to Bitcoin right now, from when I first held it back in 2012, when it was $13 a pop, I'd still be up a massive amount of percentage.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
ridiculous.
Guys, pro tip: crypto goes up 3 years, down 1 year, and it's been doing it for 12 years. It's
Yeah,
not.
but
It's not rocket science. It's really easy.
You got to give the two sides to the story, which is
I'm happy. I know more about gold than Peter.
Harder,
It's
but
fine.
they also crash harder.
I understand that. It's a reflexive system. I get it. It's fine. Look, bro, my coin I gave away for free. Let me know when they give you some gold for free. You know how many airdrops we got for free? Uniswap was free. 1 inch
So
was
are you
free.
saying that no one
But
lost
what
their
about
money in
what
Hex?
about the people that bought it though? You're talking about right at the beginning. A lot of people
Every
bought it.
single speculative instrument has the property that people
if
that buy
you-
low
if
and
you
sell
gave
high.
if you gave it away for free, does that mean you failed the Howey test? Or?
One thing at a time. Every single speculative instrument has the property that the impatient pay the patient. That the people that buy bottoms and sell tops take the money from the people that buy tops and sell bottoms. Every single speculative instrument in the world has this property. And it's not just speculative instruments. It's also Beanie Babies, it's collectibles, it's comic books, it's Ferraris. I'm up on my Ferrari. I bought a Ferrari. I made money on it. Why? Because they're sold out. So
Come on,
You
Richard,
cannot-
Like, to be fair, I know it's like your
no,
way
but
of
there's,
things.
you
I know
cannot
it's your- I know
program
it's
it
your way of
away.
things, but come on,
It's a
there's lot
feature of the
people-
system.
Honestly, Richard,
can't
there's a
get
lot
rid of it.
people- There's a lot of people that are suffering. They've lost money.
Yeah, fuck
I know,
those guys.
I know you warned them. I know that if they had listened to you, but to be fair, like there's people in the audience because that are really, really suffering, and
Then just wait
told.
6 months and we get a bull run again and you get to get rich again. Go get
Yeah,
a
but
real
just-
job,
I'm
be
sorry,
productive in
he's-
society,
he's
save up some
Ferraris
money,
and
buy the dip.
Boasting about Ferraris and diamonds and how they're all idiots, like it's not. I know
It's not
good thing,
useful.
It gets traffic,
Listen.
but it's not tasteful.
It's not useful to get everyone else wrecked. My focus is on the guys that aren't wrecked yet. I want to save those guys. I can't save the guys that already got
just
wrecked.
quickly, guys, I've got breaking news, guys. Chat, did you see it about Alameda? Just sorry, quickly, guys. And Peter Schiff, I've sent you an invite via DMs on Twitter. I see you in the audience if you want to come up. But do you see the breaking news chat from Daily Huddle? I'll read out the
checking
title.
it right now. Checking it right now. It looks like. Oh boy.
Legit?
Okay. Let me go ahead and read this out here right now. So, Three Arrows Capital has broken its silence. Says that FTX and Alameda hunted their positions during the Luna collapse. The founders of the now defunct crypto hedge fund Three Arrows Capital are speaking out after months of silence in the wake of the firm's bankruptcy. Three Arrows founders, this is from dailyhuddle.com. Three Arrow Capital founders Kyle Davies and Zeus Su have both taken to Twitter to speak on the recent collapse of the crypto exchange. FTX trading arm Alameda Research saying that the firms were also involved with triggering its bankruptcy. Let's see who this is from here. So this is from...
That is the stupidest
Zeus Su.
take I've heard.
So Davies, please let me finish, Richard. So Davies said, I ran a hedge fund, Three Arrows, with Su over a decade, 7 to 10 figures organic. Since 2018, we were all in on crypto. In May 2022, Luna exploded, and the aftermath, correlated positions, spreads, investments, all moving on against us. We understand now that FTX and Alameda hunted our positions, but at the end of the day, we lost our money. We were the largest dollar losers, and that's of LPs, liquidity providers, and creditors. Today, we are not in control of the firm. There's a liquidation process which will run due course for all involved. Responding to what purport to be screenshots of a Telegram chat with Alameda, Zeus Su says that Three Arrows Capital was wronged in some way, but didn't go into details. He says, it's a long story, but we were scammed just like you guys. It's okay, justice is coming. Despite any claims against FTX or Alameda, both Davies and Zhu have both said they perhaps could have spent more time studying the mechanics of Luna and UST before investing in it. Luna/UST was unprecedented, and we completely messed up the thesis around it. We were attracted by the quality of the backers, builders, team, and didn't spend enough time on the mechanics. Simon, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this, especially in the part that I just mentioned on the liquidation after that news just broke.
Just really quick, Peter Schiff is in the audience. If you can move him up, Mario.
I've already sent an invite via DMs. He has an invite in his Twitter.
For the audience that doesn't understand what hunting someone's position means, you can only get your position hunted if you have margin leverage. If you're a spot holder of a thing, no one can ever hunt you. No one can ever liquidate you. The price is totally irrelevant. If you held Bitcoin like I did, so I mined Bitcoin when it was 50 cents, and then it went up to $30, and I bought a bunch of it, and then it went down 93.5% to $2. And then I held, because why the heck would I sell a 93% dip? You'd have to be an idiot, right? But guess what? In crypto, we got a lot of idiots. So then the price went up to $1,300, and then it went down to $200, and then it went to $20,000, and then it went to $3,000, and then it went to $14,000, and then it went to $3,800, and then it went to $69,000, and now on the way to my 10K call, we've stopped at $15,400. So crypto is extremely volatile. It goes up for 3 years, it goes down for 1. The guys that buy the top and sell the bottom lose all their money, and where does their money go? It goes to the people that bought the bottom and sold the top. Everyone that gets margin trading in crypto gets liquidated and annihilated. Everybody. And anyone that ever plays short in any market gets totally annihilated every single time, because the money printer keeps printing and all of the charts go mostly up and to the right forever. Some small group of charts which suck and are scams or have inverse reflexivity like Luna did, where the lower the price went, the higher the supply went. So normal crypto, you get about a 95% dip, and that's about it if you've got product market fit. But with something that has negative reflexivity, where it increases supply as price drops, then you're going to get absolutely wiped out. There was a company that lost $20 million shorting Luna, and it dropped 90% like 3 times over 2 weeks. Can you imagine getting liquidated shorting something that went down 90% 3 times? Well, you know what? I warned people not to short it because you'll get liquidated on a scam wick. The market will bounce up just for a second to hit your liquidation, and then it'll go back right where you thought it would go, and you'll lose all your money. If you trade in crypto, it's the 100% most reliable way to lose all your money. And if you don't believe me, just ask Three Arrows Capital. Just ask Sam from Alameda, Sam Bankman-Fried. They all lost their money by trading. They made a crap ton of fees, and if they would have just made normal money and not got leveraged up and just rode the fees like BitMEX, they'd be rich as heck. They'd be
Martin, I see
rich
your
as
hand
heck.
up. I'm interested to hear your thoughts here.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Martin?
Hi, I just was wondering if Richard has like a gene where he has to include self-promotion in every single thing he says.
Only when I'm a god in the space and you kneel to me, yeah, I do.
I don't kneel to you. You're insufferable, and
Meritocracy.
Half the things
Meritocracy
you say
and
are
receipts.
idiotic. There are so many people who made billions in this space that you haven't, and they're not like you. They are humble and they.
I raised $27 million for charity. How much you raise?
I've actually
Neil.
given more money than that to charity.
Neil.
Than you.
Really? How much?
Don't do the dick measuring competition. Just leave it. Like
Martin,
it's not what we're here for.
I've actually taken companies
anyone else-
public.
Martin, anyone else?
Richard, we've heard it many times. We're trying.
Yeah,
to
but I don't want to sit here and brag. I already finished, but he's bringing it up.
You're the one who starts. That's the problem. Is
No,
every
dude,
other
but I
word
already
you
finished.
say-
You're just making it last longer.
Look at your website. It's a clown show. Like
Yeah, look, I'm the only self-help author with a coin. I'm the only one that called the top on the day. I'm the only one that produced a 10,000x coin that went up in a year and a half with perfect, flawless operation for 3 years. You're not paying attention to the score chart. I already won.
That sounds like
Bitcoin dropped
cherry-picking the data.
75. Bitcoin dropped 75%. Ethereum dropped 85%, and Hex dropped 95%. Seems pretty fair and reasonable to me. Seems like really good performance. And by the way, Ethereum wasn't paying you interest the whole time, but Hex was. Bitcoin wasn't paying you interest the whole time, but Hex was.
Listen,
So, and it was for free.
Peter,
I'm
Peter,
happy-
go
Did you get
ahead.
Ethereum for free?
Peter, go
I'm
ahead.
happy you're
Just say-
successful, but the
Yeah.
point is, you don't see the Winklevoss twins going around doing
Yeah,
this.
and what
You
are the
don't see them-
Winklevoss twins doing? I know people that can't get money off Gemini. How are the Winklevoss twins doing?
Richard,
the
what
idea
happened to you
is
as a
bullshit.
child? Like, why do you have to do this? Why do you have to keep telling us about this?
Because I did it the other way, and no one listens, man. I
Parents,
look at my
did your
follower
parents tell
chart.
you
There was
you were,
pre-stupid
did they
clothing
not
and
tell you
post-stupid clothing.
Things that you were happy about as a child.
Really? Don't insult Richard, but then attack his family. Are you baiting me right now? I'm not even going to take the bait.
Everybody, as you're choosing who your gods are and who you
Listen.
like to bow your knee to.
Let's just pretend I suck.
mindful that there's a
Let's pretend I'm
Are
horrible.
you sucking?
I want you to hold your own keys, and I want you to buy bottoms instead of tops, and I want you to not have counterparty risk, and I want you to take free coins when they're available. As a Bitcoin holder, you got Bitcoin Cash for free, you got XLM for free, you got XRP for free, you got Byteball for free, you got Hex for free. I want you to take free money. I want you to hold your own keys. I want you to see mad gains. I want you to stop enriching scumbags. That's all I want. And if you have it, and if the only way I can get people to pay attention to me is to act like a jerk off, I'll do it. But in the end, I care about your best interest. I'm trying to save your life.
Peter,
Really?
go ahead.
That sounds like Sam Bankman-Fried. I think he was trying to make as much money so that he could give as much away. And
Yeah,
save
but
as
he
many
funded the Republican Party that tried to double our capital gains tax from 20 to 40%.
No,
Does that
Richard,
sound good to
really,
you?
Is
Hey,
your
gu-
mission
guys,
really
can I
to help as many
jump
people
in
as
for a
possible?
moment here because I think we're losing track. You know, I have to say in defense of Richard, he is an excellent self-promoter. You know, he has a great sense of humor. He's a very good speaker. Like, we got to give him some respect, right? Not everyone agrees with him. That's okay. But that we have Martin Shkreli criticizing Richard for his attitude, that's the funniest thing here right now. You know, like, everyone needs to chill. We're talking about FTX. Richard made some really good points about, you know, the predictions that he made and how people have lost a lot of money. You know, everyone should have their own keys, you know, and have their own crypto and not trust third parties with that. I think, you know, he makes some good points. So let's just all chill out. And now,
FTX was going to get liquidated.
Wait. And now let's listen to Peter Schiff as well. Let's fucking blow this room up.
Go, Peter, go.
Well, he's not here, is he? I'm.
I've sent him the invite again, so we'll see if he comes up.
So
Peter?
my point is quite simply, everyone that trades in crypto loses all their money, and it doesn't matter how many billions you're playing with. As a matter of fact, the more billions you have, the harder it is because you eat slippage. Michael Saylor is an idiot, okay? Michael Saylor liked to pay higher prices instead of lower prices. Michael Saylor liked to market buy on Coinbase instead of spreading his order like any intelligent person would across multiple exchanges. In an Ethereum ecosystem, which is vastly superior, we have automated systems that do this, such as Matcha.xyz and OneInch.io, which unfortunately is on available to United States citizens. But Match.x IOZ, I think, works for US guys. So in Ethereum, we already can spread our orders across multiple order books and get reduced slippage. We can always choose a slippage limit so that no one front runs us or flash bots us and give us a really bad execution. We already have the most on-chain trading volume of any exchange. There was more Ethereum USD traded on Uniswap yesterday than there was on any other exchange in the ecosystem. There's no counterparty risk. It's amazing. DeFi is the future. You don't have to worry about anyone running away with your money. You don't have to worry about proof of keys because every transaction is its own proof. Decentralized finance is the only solution to middlemen stealing everyone's money. And decentralized finance is not available to non-smart contract enabled chains. You will have to encumber yourself with screwy counterparties that will steal all your money. Let me give you an example. Solana used to have wrapped Bitcoin on the Solana network. And guess who wrapped the Bitcoin for them? Ding, ding, ding. It was FTX. And guess what? All the wrapped Bitcoin on the Solana network that FTX wrapped, it ain't unwrappable now. So you had hidden counterparty risk that people don't know about, that I'm one of the only people in the world to tell you the real risk of it. I'm the guy that tells you crypto drops 85% every 3 years. I'm the guy that tells you those wrapped coins you got, you might not be able to unwrap them. And even if you get and die, you're still at risk if USDC and USDT use their admin keys to invalidate everything because they can at will. As a matter of fact, they've been invalidating some of FTX's transfers. You can go look at the coins that they've invalidated. So long story short, I want you to take control of your own keys. I want you to see mad gains. I want to see less scams. I want to see less middlemen. And everyone that's in this space that has a YouTube channel, you want to know where they make all their money? They make it on referral fees. And who are the only people paying referral fees? Counterparties. Margin trading. And what's the most dangerous thing for any user? Margin trading. It's so dangerous, it's caused most of the liquidations. FTX would be wildly profitable and wildly influential, except they just had to FOMO the top. Michael Saylor liked to pay more instead of less because he thought he was getting richer. Every time he bought the price up higher, he'd go, oh my God, look, the price went up. I'm so much richer. Now all my old coins I bought are worth so much more. But what he isn't smart enough to understand is that what you actually have to look at is how much you're going to eat slippage in the other direction. Oh, you drove the price up against yourself on the way up. Guess what, buddy? You're going to drive the price down against yourself on the way out, and your actual exit price has to account for that slippage. And so now Michael Saylor, he looks like he's down $2 billion, but pro tip, if he actually tried to sell the money that he bought, he'd be down way more than $2 billion because he's going to eat the negative slippage on the other side. He's an idiot. He bought the top on leverage.
What's really interesting about Michael Saylor, I don't know if you guys remember this, but he's done YouTube videos where he's telling people, take a mortgage on your house and put the money in Bitcoin. Can you imagine how many fucking people that guy has ruined with his advice and his videos? Look at him now.
He said Bitcoin was going to fail like online gaming in 2013, and he didn't even delete that tweet. I had a huge bag of Bitcoin in 2013. He was wrong then. He didn't want to buy it when it was 1,300, but he loves to buy it at 10,000. It drives me crazy that every single day, bankrupt guys that not only lost all their money, but everyone else that would listen to them's money, have million followers. And I, the guy that gets it all the time, 250K. It's like, what is this upside down world crap? Do people hate money?
At least you have a check mark now, bro.
It might have something to do with your personality.
What's that? Is that the $8 version?
Nah, unfortunately, I got the Suck D's for Blue Check, the non-$8 one.
I just want to pipe up and say, for those people who are new to the space and who just got onto FTX and whatever, and are trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong, but just don't like being yelled at, like, in my view, Richard is absolutely right. He may not be so soft with his messaging, but yeah, there's no substitute for being in charge of your own assets. So if you're trying to sort out what to do next, and you're brand new, and you're like, who is this lunatic screaming at me? There's actually some good content in what he's saying, and nobody can ever take your coins away from you if you keep it on cold storage, and nobody can take your money away from you if you stop doing high leverage trading. Everybody knows that retail gets rinsed on trading because it's hard, and people can build out algorithms to play against you. So,
and the guys with the algorithms get rinsed too. They had every advantage. They had their own crap coin. They had their own front running team in-house. They had their own exchange. They had their own fiat on-ramps, and they still got wrecked margin trading, because margin trading is death. And if you ever short, it's super omega death. People don't understand how bad shorting is. I'm going to give you the quick short version of it. Well, after I plug DeFi. DeFi and EVM chains stop you from having to suckle middleman D to get out of risk. You can get into a stablecoin like DAI, which is the least risk you can get. It's still risky because USDC and USDT, but in order for USDT and USDC to screw DAI, they really have to like lock all the coins because they're like commingled, and it's kind of, no one would ever buy USDC and USDT again if they did that. So it's kind of existential risk for their business model, so they're unlikely to do it. So like EVM chains, vastly superior to non-EVM chains because you can de-risk and trade without counterparty risk and without middleman D. It's beautiful and it's amazing and everything's already proof of reserved. Unless you have fake DeFi, which has admin keys, and there's a lot of that. Unless you have fake DeFi, which doesn't use time-weighted average price and gets liquidated in flashbot attacks. Some of this is a little too advanced for the new guys. So, what was I going to say before I was plugging DeFi? What was the other thing?
Margin and...
Yeah, margin. There was another thing too.
Something
Getting
about
wrecked.
how great
Oh,
you
shorting.
are
Shorting.
at your
Listen.
best, and you get
Let's say,
everything right, and how everybody
dude,
else is stupid.
please
and
don't make
you're
me
the best.
measure up. Please. I suck, okay? I know how much I suck. Fat, old. I get it. I even got gray hair now. I suck. So, margin trading. Every single finance firm that's in existence that's still alive is long. The short ones are all dead. You get liquidated shorting a Ponzi. You shorted Luna, it went down 90% 3 times in 2 weeks. You still got liquidated on Scamwix. Oops. You short Herbalife. That dude, Bill Ackman, lost $2 billion or $1 billion shorting Herbalife. Lol. And what's Herbalife? Maximum middlemen. What's the maximum middlemen we can put between product and user? Totally inefficient business model. And the guy that shorted it got totally liquidated. Now let's talk about the long guys. So let's say you bought Bitcoin at $1. You wrote it up to 70K. You made 70,000x. It's not bad. Now let's say you took the other side of the same move. You shorted Bitcoin at 70K. It went to 0, which it didn't, but let's pretend it did. It went to 0. How many X did you make? You made 1X. Now wait a second, Richard, are you sure on this math? Yeah, I'm real sure on the math. Let's go through it again so that you know the difference between longing and shorting. Because a lot of these guys that get liquidated in crypto got liquidated while being short. Buy Bitcoin at $1, goes up to 70X, $70,000. You made 70,000 times your money. Your $1 turned into $70,000. You go short. You short one Bitcoin at 70K. It costs you the same. Actually, it costs you $70,000. To long it cost $1. To short one Bitcoin cost 70K. It goes to 0. You only made 1X. You made 70K. So you literally made 70,000 times more money being long than being short. Because for the same $70,000 of risk, you could have longed 70,000 Bitcoin at $1. But if you're short, that same 70 grand only shorts one Bitcoin and it goes to 0, you only made a 1X. So people that short crypto, to me, it's hilarious because you're not going to make any money and you're going to get entirely liquidated. And that's the same thing with trading crypto to crypto pairs. Look, Bitcoin, like the COVID dip took Ethereum from 88 to 5,000. That's like, what, 60? Go ahead.
You keep mentioning DeFi, man, and there's a shitload of scam DeFi, right? So
yeah, mostly.
No, exactly, man. So I think it's probably helpful, and I know this, and you know this, like to explain some DeFi that makes sense because a lot of people that are new get wrecked the most in DeFi. It's not just the
Uniswap. Uniswap.
Yeah. So I think that's helpful to qualify it for everyone, man, because it's easy to just throw DeFi around because the whole space does it, and then people get wrecked every day because of that word.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
I almost hate the word DeFi, you know?
Hey, look, I agree with you. You guys remember who made Uniswap popular? Remember who advertised it more than Hayden Adams, the founder? Remember whose coin had the majority of liquidity and trades on it for like 6 months?
I have a guess. Hold on. I have a guess. Hold on. I think it's Richard. You're gonna say it's you. Okay, bro. I'll let Tara go if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead,
Richard. Go ahead, Tara. I saw you on mute.
Oh, I had requested a little bit ago before, the whole measuring contest began. So I'm just sitting here having a nice laugh.
Sure. Well, I'll
measure up, Tara. Get your ruler.
I'll give you the mic. I'll give you the mic afterwards.
Richard,
But
I don't want to put you in your place. I'm just playing.
I want to mention
No
something.
pumping.
Simon, do you wanna, Simon, I know you tried to mention this earlier. Richard didn't get a chance. Richard, I think you'll agree with this one with Simon. You guys tend to agree more than you think.
Simon makes money on people that take your keys away from you. I still like him. He's a nice guy. But he makes money on people taking your keys from you. I don't want you to ever give your keys to anybody.
Simon, did you want to bring up the the Celsius and the people that were hurt. I know you were mentioning it earlier. I'd love to give you the mic again to mention that again.
No, yeah, I just want to say, Richard, like it's I understand, you know, you have a different way of coming about things, and there are some pearls and wisdom amongst all the dick measuring and bragging and things and selecting the things that you did say, but there are some things you do get wrong, and you never talk about those. But
well, just tell me what they are and apologize.
Well, I think if we got Peter Schiff up and you did a 1-year chart of gold versus Hex when you told everyone to buy Hex, you'd probably find that Peter Schiff was right over the last year.
So we're going to do that for Amazon too and Facebook too, right? And we'll pretend they're bad assets.
But
we're going to pretend everything down this year is a bad asset, right? So then the whole global, everything's just bad assets because everything's down this year, right?
Yeah. But what I wanted to say is that I have recently just been given some messages, and I sent Mario a video on like some story around people that have actually taken their life because of these things, and there are a lot of people that are on the verge and on the edge, and
guys, we're gonna have a bull run soon. Just stick in the game for a while, man. There's no reason to kill yourself. You're going to be able to get really rich in the next bull run. Just hang out for a while.
Sure.
This is
Tough love
way too serious.
No, tough love does help for some people, but I know it's way too serious. But I got hundreds and hundreds of messages from people that appreciated that message and really needed it at that time because they were feeling really, really shitty.
I have a question, man, because I'm not a Hex dude at all. Me and Richard actually has me on my ass blocked. So here's the thing: like, my question is, the advice you give to people, does it get people wrecked? Like, when you keep talking about all the advice you give, and I followed you for a long time, but a lot of the advice you give, man, I'm just being honest, is not helpful for the average person.
You talking about me, Richard? You talking about me?
Simon.
My advice: what? Diversification, dollar cost averaging.
I'm talking about the way,
preparing
like,
for different outcomes. Yeah, I mean, it may not perform as well as a pump and dump.
The Celsius group and all the Celsius conversations it just blows my mind, man. The amount of knowledge that was given to people that was incorrect across the space, and then now it's like we got all these self-help groups, and it's like this is not new information. This has been going on for a long time, man. Like, this is not the first. I think the first exchange I got wrecked on was Cryptopia. You know, like, Celsius isn't new, FTX is not new. None of these blowups are new. Like,
here's the sad part, bro. Crypto's doing fine.
Like, I don't think anyone on this stage says that you should store your money on an exchange. Everyone's been, you know, that's everyone says that on this stage.
What I'm saying is, it's better to talk to people about that are new to retail about the right way to use crypto, man. And like, it seems like every time the crypto blows up, it just becomes a self-help group. Like, if we're ever going to get past this bullshit, we need to focus on the real thing, which is educating people on how to actually use the products.
Absolutely.
And it just keeps happening over and over again, where there's a blow up and then we go into self-help mode, and then we just kick, 70% of the community leaves crypto and disappears, and then we try to bring new people in with new bullshit.
All of us try to get people to use cold storage, and all of us say that that's the right way to go.
I just hate hearing, like, every time this self-help.
If you promote margin trading, you're a piece of shit, and it's really that simple.
I don't promote margin trading.
I'm not trying to attack you, bro. I'm just saying, like, most of this space does, man. Like,
okay, cool.
A lot of this space promotes margin trading. A lot of this space promotes centralized services. A lot of this space invests and uses their money to invest in centralized products and services, and sucks in new users and gets user base based on these investments.
Bro, FTX sponsored e-gaming. Who watches e-gaming? Kids. And what are they trying to do? Get kids to margin trade. The most likely thing to kill you in your 20s is yourself. Imagine you add margin trading to that risk. It's absolutely disgusting, and no one speaks out about it. Like, I do, but like almost no one else, because that's how they get paid. It's a tragedy of the commons that the only way to make money in crypto is either to have a paid group and lie to people and say you're profitable and scam them, or to have referral links to things that feed people to the meat grinder. And there's really, like, very few other ways.
My biggest thing that bothers me is it's the VCs and the same people reinvesting in services that they call DeFi that aren't fucking DeFi, and they're behind all the investments, and then they pump up this fake DeFi, which isn't real, and then they pretend like it's all like been some really amazing product, then it dumps, or rugs or something else, and then magically it's like, oh, let's go into let's have our self-help group and talk about people committing suicide. Yeah, no shit, people kill themselves with bad investments every day, but the problem is at the front end. It's not at the back end. It's all of the people that don't disclose all of the bullshit they sell in the beginning.
I'll tell you what, man.
And that's
nothing
totally
about that.
true. I mean, like, if you looked at Alameda's portfolio, and I looked at it and I said, why haven't I not invested in any of the DeFi protocols? And it's 100%. All those protocols that Alameda invested in was fake DeFi. It was as simple as that. They were bullshit projects that did nothing, but pretty much still uses funds. Maybe there were one or two that did something, but most of them were fake DeFi projects that were promoting themselves as real DeFi projects. If you look at real DeFi projects like Uniswap as an example, you don't see them getting an Alameda, VC investment.
So I'll just tell you guys really quick what real DeFi is. It's really extremely short. There's no admin keys, which means the contract is permanent. You can't change anything. When you wanted to upgrade from Uniswap V1 to V2, you needed to move your liquidity. They didn't have an admin key to do it for you. When you wanted to upgrade from V2 to V3, you needed to move your liquidity. There was no admin key to do it for you, which decentralized the security. It made it so that no individual could have pointed everyone's liquidity at some evil thing. That's a better design process. In Hex, we don't ever ask for permission for anything. So a lot of these contracts, including Uniswap, get you to approve the contract spending all your money. And if there's a proxy hidden in the contract...
Honestly, Richard, I understand you want to promote Hex, but
No, I'm not. I'm telling you about...
This is not the time to use...
I'm not promoting Hex. I'm telling you about superior, trustless, risk-free design processes.
But Richard, we've
telling
heard
you
this so many times.
No, you're not... No. I understand more about smart contracts than you, and I'm telling you something important. You're not listening. You're not listening.
I'll let you finish that point, Richard.
I'm telling you that it's dangerous to approve a contract to spend all your money because they can upgrade the contract with a proxy, but you're not listening. I'm telling you how to do DeFi safer.
Make sure guys, let me give Mary. Mary's been the only one putting her hand up and waiting. Mary, appreciate your patience. The mic is yours.
Hey, thanks so much for letting me speak. And I had my hand up for quite some time. There's a lot of measuring going on here, and I just wanted to say this. Everybody has a different delivery. Richard, I had not heard about you. Who you were before, and I may not be a fan of your delivery while people are hurting after having lost their life savings, Richard. And I actually have been in a space where I heard someone who wanted to take their life, and we literally saved them. So I can appreciate where you're coming from, right? But I'm smart enough to recognize that what you're saying is really good advice for people in this space. And I'm learning every single day, and I'm looking for people, that and I think a lot of people that are in this room are listening because they're learning. And this is a great panel that's up here. Mario, I applaud you, Kim, for putting this together because we're all learning in this space.
Mary, that's exactly why I invited Richard here.
Yep.
You can think whatever you want about him. He's flashy, he's loud, but he's told people for years, don't put your money in exchanges. And if people would have listened to him, they wouldn't now have to deal with this drama.
And it's more than exchanges, guys. We lost billions of dollars to bridges as well because bridges are obfuscated counterparty risk.
Guys, I've got a nice topic. I'm gonna mention something that someone tweeted. I'm going through the comments from the audience. Can we please talk about how useless crypto auditing companies are with such big damage? How the fuck they didn't notice the big hole? Why are they called auditors for? Who can retail trust? So, and we brought that up, Chet, you brought that up as well, that the same auditors that work with FTX also work with other exchanges that we mentioned yesterday. Maybe that's a good, we could bring up the systematic risk.
Hey, Mario, if I can finish my thought on Richard.
Just a second, please. Yeah. That's what I just wanted to say, Mary. I interrupted you. I'm sorry, and now it's back to you.
No. I totally appreciate that, and thank you so much for letting me speak up here again. And again, Richard, I really, again, your delivery is a little off, but I followed you now because what you're saying makes so much sense. So those things that you're saying is, 1, don't short crypto. 2, don't put money on exchanges. 3, learn how to self-custody your coins. I think we all agree on that. And 4, never use margin or leverage to trade. So I think you sound amazing, and you're smart and are very intelligent. And I just wish you could work on your delivery a little bit, as I do think that there are a lot of people that could benefit from the truth that you're speaking out there. It's just your delivery is just kind of harsh a little bit, but I did follow you, and I am going to listen to you because I like hearing people that have different opinions on things. That's how we all learn. So I do appreciate you, but there are people that are hurting out there, Richard. So I did follow you.
Just on the crypto auditing. So this, I'm not going to mention the name, but it is the top crypto auditor in the space, and a project I was helping build for them got audited by them. I said, let me check the code. I checked the code, found a bug in the code, and if they didn't pick up this bug that was in the code, and it was a simple fact that basically a hacker could come in and make fundamental changes to the code, effectively using balance changes, which the auditors didn't pick up, and luckily I managed to pick up, and this is not the only instance of this happening where auditors haven't picked something up and something's been hacked. And I can attest to the fact that, crypto auditors charge lucrative fees and don't give you the necessarily value add you get. Why do we need crypto auditors? You don't see like a lot of these big DeFi, the real DeFi protocols getting audited. And the reason being is because they're proper DeFi. They don't need ridiculous SEX listings. SEX would end up listening because they have a great product. A lot of these, centralized exchanges need an audit to satisfy their requirements, which a lot of the time is just rubbish. And kind of lastly, Richard, on a lighter note, I'm not sure if you saw the video of the dev where he says how much you actually suck. I think it's quite lighthearted.
I don't think
I suck a lot.
About the exchange earlier about auditing. I think auditing does its purpose and its intention at the front end, right? The issue where all these fucking companies keep getting screwed over is when they start working on bridging their assets over to other chains, as well as to other EVM like all the rugs and all the crazy shit that's happening, in my opinion, is not an audit problem. It's a bridging problem. Like they're easy to exploit, and nobody solved that yet. I think bridges, at least on the DeFi side, is where everyone keeps getting fucked.
So the way to reduce your bridge risk is the same way that you should be reducing your transactional risk. And I've never heard anyone else talk about it, but it's such the easiest thing ever. So let's say you want to trade with someone that you don't trust. What you do is you just trade a little bit, and then a little bit, and then a little bit, and then a little bit. And they can only screw you for the last trade. So if, for instance, you want a fiat on-ramp to crypto, you send a little bit to the exchange. You take your crypto out. You send a little bit more. You take your crypto out. You send a little bit more. You take your crypto out. They can only screw you for the last cent. And the same way it works with selling. You want to sell your crypto? Send them a little bit, sell it. Send them a little bit, sell it. You might 10x your transaction fees, but you also 10x less your risk. That's a really good deal.
Because a lot of the people, like the last guy's comment, they'll be like, oh, well, they're audited by CertTech or whatever, right? Okay, cool. That doesn't mean that's just like a basic. Like,
I think every scam has been audited by CertTech, though.
No, but I'm saying that's like a baseline. I'd say that's a baseline. That's like jumpstart, like starting the car, man. Like that's not driving the car. Like you can't blame the auditing process. That's just like step one.
People. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Oh, it doesn't say that it shows. But anyway, the thing is, people don't even read the audits. So a lot of time, the audit, when you...
Someone's calling you, I think, Richard, so it keeps dropping out. He's got to hang up on them. Can you hear me?
I was going to say, so if your audit, I hear you now. The audit will say this contract sucks because a proxy can change all the code. And then people don't read the audit. or it'll say that, it can infinitely mint if an admin wants it to, and people just don't read the audit. Having an audit isn't the same as reading the results of the audit and seeing if the team actually fixed the stuff. So just there's no such thing as quote an audit. You actually have to read the results.
Piotr, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, Richard, I've got a question for you. But first, seriously, man, I get it. You've succeeded a lot. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. But as my father says, it's trying to measure whose arse is wider. It's a completely pointless competition, and you undermine your own argument by the delivery. So I really encourage you to say what you're saying. I'm a novice in this space, and I've been listening and appreciate what you're saying, but you really do alienate, I think, a lot of people through your delivery. So I highly ask if you can just be a little bit more aware of the people who have taken their lives, including a couple of people I know personally, have been on the very verge of that. So without being too heavy-handed, my question is just, you're bringing in a lot of very useful information, a lot of very timely stuff for a lot of listeners who are in very vulnerable positions. I want to hear your perspective on the regulation front and where we go from here. What's next steps? How do we, apart from better decisions and holding those who are perpetrators accountable, what do you think about the future of the space more broadly?
Deregulation is the answer. The reason that you've never had less choice in banking, you've never had less choice in exchanges, you've never had less choice in insurance, you've never had less choice in cable companies, you have less choice everywhere you look because the government is doing a bad job. The government is supposed to allow capitalism to function by allowing competition. And you allow competition to function by having a free market. And people don't understand what free market means. Free market means regulated market. And what it means is foster competition. So we used to have one telephone company in the United States called Ma Bell. And the government said, you know what? It'd be better if we had multiple telephone companies competing with each other, adding on value, and then the customers choosing who won. And that's what they did. They broke Ma Bell up into many parts. And the same thing happened with digital subscriber lines, DSL, when the internet first came to people's homes. That's how it got to your house. It's called DSL, digital subscriber line. They gave a centralized service of the base layer of internet connection, and then people would add stuff on it. Oh, you can get news groups. Oh, you can get chat rooms. And then they had a baseline, and then they did value add on top of it. That's how you create competition. That's how you create excellence. That's how you let capitalism function. And in cryptocurrency, we don't have that. If you're an American citizen, you're persona non grata everywhere. You're a piece of crap. No one likes you. No one wants to work with you. You're banned from airdrops. You're banned from ICOs. You're banned from exchanges. And why? Because the United States government has done a terrible job protecting its citizens' rights. It's done a terrible job protecting your right to prosper and pursue happiness. It's robbed you of your freedom.
Richard, to follow up on his question, I want to ask you. So regulation, I'm an American too, dude. Regulation's coming. I don't care what anybody says. And so when it does, Ethereum and all the stuff that falls underneath it, anything EVM compatible, all this great stuff is going to get regulated. And I don't think it's a positive. So how do you think the U.S. stays competitive when it happens? Because I believe it's coming, no matter what anyone thinks.
I mean, look, Joe Biden himself said, hey, I hate referring to Joe Biden as himself. He's an 80-year-old dude that can't drive or barely walk. But hey, he's in charge, I guess. I wouldn't let him drive my Ferrari. Let's put it that way. He says that blockchain's important and that the governmental agencies underneath him should report to him on what type of regulation would foster growth in the space. So his public position is that blockchain is good and that America should lead it. And if that is his actual position, and the people listening to him follow his orders, then we should see regulation that causes competition, regulation that lets other exchanges be in the exchange business, that lets people have their anonymity and their privacy because it's a human right. You cannot have capitalism without mixing and anonymity, period. You can't pay your employees without them seeing your wallet and seeing how much all the other employees are getting paid. You can't have wholesalers knowing what all the other wholesalers are getting paid. You can't have your customer base get leaked because everyone can see who's paying you. None of these things are okay in a capitalist system. They break competition. And so we need anonymity and we need mixing and we need privacy.
But it's not going to happen, Richard. I think when regulation comes, it's going to look like Coinbase. The U.S. government knows every transaction and every trade and every single person that uses Coinbase's information, and they have 100%. There's no anonymity, and there's 100% oversight of anybody that touches Coinbase. So when regulation comes, when securities are out there, like if Hex, for example, starts, is used throughout the U.S. and it becomes a security, right? Every single.
But that's not what makes it a security. Adoption doesn't equal security.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that. If
I'm just saying like adoption isn't the. So I'll tell you what a security is. The Howey test states that a security is when you put money into a common pool with the expectation of profit solely from the work of others. And that word solely means a lot. Are you doing a job? Are you minting your own coins? Are you performing your own computation? Are you doing your own work?
Proof of stake.
That's not a security.
Is proof of stake a security?
Are you doing the work? Are they your keys? Is it your computer? Are you an
Again, this is the government that's going to decide. I'm not going to decide.
But I can decide. I know how to read. I gave you the rules very clearly.
I have a different opinion as the government, but the government can decide whatever the heck they want, man. They can put.
But they can't. Look, man. Like someone has to put up the fight, and I think the guys that are registered in the United States, like Coinbase, is kind of doing what they should do, taking their giant stack of money, they don't know what else to do with it anyway, and putting it into the lobbying that might save their own business model from going bankrupt.
Well, there's a reason Binance is not there, right? There's a reason why Coinbase is there. Coinbase is there because they do whatever the government tells them to do.
Hey, but Kraken allows you, look, Coinbase will cancel you if you use a mixture. Kraken won't. That's a big difference. And they're both regulated into oblivion, and they both have the same licenses.
Guys, do you mind? I know Pietro and actually agents. You guys have your hand up.
Kraken allows
I wanna go back to the discussion. A lot of people are asking on your.
I don't know enough about Kraken.
Oh, he can't hear
They
me.
carry Monero for a reason, bro. Coinbase don't.
Can anyone hear me? Kim, chat.
I can hear you, Mario.
I can hear you, Mario.
Oh, okay, go. All right, cool. All right, guys. So just wanna bring back the topic. This gentleman there can't hear me. I've just muted you. A lot of people asking about FTX.
The argument that the guy was asking you before, Richard, was simply.
I've just removed the gentleman now, not because he's being rude. He just can't hear me. Glitch for him. So if the team can send him an invite, that'll be great. But Richard, the FTX downfall, the dominoes falling. We did a space on Crypto.com and other exchanges yesterday. We had CZ come in. We had Mexi come in, we had Kraken come in, we had the Canadian one, a whole bunch of exchanges come. Now, I understand your point about having your funds in a cold storage wallet, but most people are still not going down that path. We saw Binance have an influx of net inflows in the 7 days throughout FTX, while most other exchanges had net outflows. How deep do you think the issue is? We had 3 Hours Capital comment on the matter. We've had a lot of insiders come in, and it seems to all be intertwined. I'll tell you two findings. One of them is Alameda, and I've had two projects confirm this. Alameda invests in a project, asks them or forces them or tells them to have the project to leave those funds on FTX, the exchange, and then FTX then sends those funds back to Alameda that invest them again into another project. So it becomes that pyramid scheme, circle jerk between Alameda and FTX. That's number one. And number two, we were the first ones to break the story. An executive of another exchange came on stage, the first space we did on the matter, and before being pressured heavily, she revealed that, and it was confirmed today. Sam led to the Luna crash, and then 3 Hours Capital were fucked by Sam. They confirmed it today, so now I'm not gonna say it's a rumor. And CZ knew about this. CZ knew about some of the shenanigans that Sam is doing, warned him. Sam didn't listen, and eventually CZ made the tweet that led to where we are today. So there's just all these stories happening behind the scenes, and I'm only stating some of them and the ones we were able to confirm. How deep is this issue? How many more dominoes could fall, and how much worse could things get before they finally get better?
I mean, the funny thing to me is that everyone's crying and moaning when the price is way higher than it was like a few weeks ago. Like Ethereum was $880 like 6 weeks ago, and now people are crying when it's 50% higher. You guys don't know what max pain is. I assure you, max pain ain't $1,200. I think it's like you can't Ethereum's 50% higher than it was not so long ago. For all these people talking about max pain and killing them stuff and all that, guys, look at the charts. You're on a nice bounce right now. Wait till you start making lower lows. When I said 11K and pray, the real call is 10,350, and I'm just waiting for people to front run me. 85% off of $69,000 is $10,350. Maybe it's $10,650, but I think it's $10,350. And so like we're right now at like 16, 17, something like that. So you still have another third to lose to hit the normal drops 85% every 3 years target, or every 4 years. So like this is absolutely standard fare for crypto. The same stuff happens every single cycle, but people think it's new. Nope, I've been here since 2011. I've seen this exact same game show play out time and time and time again, which is why I was able to call the top on the day.
But not to this level. Not to this level. I think now.
No, but this level, we didn't even drop 85% yet. Like we didn't even do a big drop yet.
Not in terms of price action. In terms of how fucked up we got things. To what level we fucked things up. Because now we've got regulators looking at the matter.
The point here is, it doesn't matter how much more crypto drops, because of FTX, a lot of people have lost everything. And I agree with Mary that we need to be a little bit more considerate for the people that are in this room listening that have lost everything. So let's just chill a little bit. Here's what Here's what I would like to do. You are a very smart guy. Regulation is coming. We have people in the room that are regulators that are listening to us and following this whole thing. If you had to pick 3 regulations to make exchanges safe for users, what would they be?
Make people custody their own funds. It's the only reason why crypto exists. The only second reason why it exists is censorship resistance.
What about onboarding and offboarding then?
Limit the amount, make them stagger their orders. Don't let them stick their whole stack in at once.
It's not very free market, what you want to...
No, but like, look, man, getting regulations in general are so this is what I was saying earlier. People get it backwards. Free market means regulated market. An actual free market consists of people shooting their competitors. An actual free market was U.S. Steel controlling all the steel and the railroads that shipped it. Actual free markets are the opposite of free markets. They're very unfree. So like even in...
So Richard, go back to Kim's question. So we know that onboarding and offboarding has to exist. So the answer is you have to have centralized. So what would be the top 3 regulations?
No,
the first
no,
one
hold on.
Was...
No. There is a solution here that I'm the only guy that's talking about it. Let you buy crypto from your neighbor without your neighbor worrying about going to prison for being an unlicensed money transmitter. Decentralize the on-ramps, decentralize the off-ramps. When someone has a used t-shirt, they don't have a problem selling it on eBay. They don't have a problem selling it to the used clothes store. They don't have a problem selling it on StockX or all these other websites. But with crypto, everyone's terrified of going to prison for unlicensed money transmission. I believe that if a friend of yours gives you $100 and wants 520s, you should be able to do that. And I believe if a friend of yours has $100 and he wants 5 of a different currency and you happen to have it, you should be able to hand it to him without worrying about going to prison.
So bring back local Bitcoins, but
yes,
they're going to say, okay, we'll do a limit on the amount. Or are you saying unlimited?
It's better than nothing, bro. Because look,
okay, so if I want to buy $1 million of Bitcoin from a bank account, let's talk about that scenario.
I think you should be able to do it. I think that fake law enforcement is adding more hay and hoping that they can find needles in haystacks. Having everything get a suspicious activity report, a CSAR, is not helping law enforcement do their job properly. Searching people at the airport, when they actually test it and see whether bad stuff gets through, the bad stuff always gets through.
So your advice
is security theater.
Allow for peer-to-peer. Secondly, undo AML laws, and thirdly, stop caring about tax collection because they want the data.
No, you're still going to get tax collection because you see what people bought with it. So anytime someone tries to cheat on taxes, you just look at the stuff they have and you go, hey, the stuff you have doesn't equal the tax you paid, so we're going to bust you down.
My feedback on that is you're probably fighting a trend you're going to lose, so it might be worth focusing on something else.
No, but like we have jurisdictional arbitrage, right? Like you can drive across the border to Mexico and do stuff, or you can set up a company in another jurisdiction and have your company do it. You know, a lot. This idea.
These are all ways around. Like if we're talking about your average American that wants to put $1 million of into Bitcoin. They've got dollars. They're onboarding for the first time, and so centralized
The
exchanges
average
don't exist.
American doesn't have $1 million.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
It's
But,
been
but
inflated
it's just
away.
like you have to realize that AML KYC is security theater, and all the criminals get their money washed just fine. And the only people that are actually harmed are the honest guys. It's security theater. It's law enforcement theater. We need more investigators. We need more judges issuing injunctions. Those are things that actually get stuff done.
Let's go to DeFi then. So Richard, like if somebody creates a token and they follow all your like there's no admin keys and stuff like that, but they end up with a bunch of the supply, and they go on a YouTube video and tell everyone to buy it, and they're dumping at the same time. Like, what type of things do you think should be done about this? Just crowdsource?
I think you just described like almost every altcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
Every
So
single altcoin has
do you
extremely highly centralized ownership.
Yeah, but do you think
Even
like
Bitcoin
some element of do you think we should just leave all that in the unregulated sphere, or do you think some
100%. Caveat emptor. Like you have to understand, you cannot live in a world that is free, and then when you centralize control, it gets worse and worse and worse until you have a revolution. Every single law in the United States that has a fixed dollar amount is going to crush and kill you. Let me give you an example. You can only travel across the border with $10,000. That was made in the 1970s. $10,000 now is 3 or 4 times less powerful than it was in the 1970s. So in effect, you are now restricted 3 or 4 times more because it was a poorly written law that didn't adjust for consumer price index increases
what
and
about
inflation.
what about free market solutions then? Like
What I'm saying is that these laws have to be changed because eventually you won't be able to travel with a cheeseburger worth of money across the border because fiat currency is going to zero, bro. And so the law has to be changed. It has to be upgraded. If you're going to have a 4th Amendment that says you have a right against unreasonable search and seizure, guess what, bro? You don't get to unreasonably search and seize all of your citizen stuff. Civil forfeiture needs to go bye-bye. Like, there's a lot of clawing back of human rights that needs to happen. They used to not be able to read your mail. It was illegal. It was a federal crime to read people's mail. Now we use email. So guess what? Everyone can read it and does. You lost your rights when we went from analog to digital and just no one was paying attention, and it's not okay. And if you don't fix it on your own, eventually it's going to go so bad you have a revolution and a lot of people die.
Well, the 4th Amendment died with the Patriot Act. So once that came...
I know you want to be pragmatist and like pretend you can't fix these things, but they are fixable actually.
No, I mean,
You
I
just
don't live in America for these reasons, but you know, but also the Constitution said that money has to be backed by gold. You know, these.
The U.S. government and international central banks have already decided CBDCs are going to do everything you said, Richard. Only the opposite. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse than it is.
So what we're saying, Richard, is like I think
CBDCs are worse than anything. CBDCs are far worse.
It's going to be worse than it is.
Yeah, we're trying to go beyond the philosophical debate because, like, a lot of us come from.
I will give you pragmatic.
That's real.
I will give you pragmatic stuff you could do.
Yeah.
Let banks sell crypto, and just treat it like money. And then the same bank that you go to put your stupid savings account, your stupid checking account, you can buy your stupid crypto. And they already did that. They already passed that law. I don't understand this like the world is ending, everything sucks, everything's horrible. We did make some progress there.
Do you want to know what stopped that one? So Basel regulations state that as you have more assets on your liabilities, you have to go through additional stress tests and have more deposits. And so if you custody Bitcoin under banking regulations, as the price of Bitcoin goes up, you have to find more deposits in order to meet the Basel requirements and stress requirements.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, hey, can I step
Fix
in
it.
here a little
Just
bit?
fix it. Amend it. They're not permanent laws. You can fix them.
Step in here a little bit. I mean, there's
Before you do,
things.
Cherry, before you do, just want to say this, and we're verifying the identity of an insider at Alameda that will be potentially coming in very shortly, verified. So just want to let you all know. Go ahead, Cherry.
Thank you very much. By the way, the comment about going to Mexico. I'm actually Mexican and Belgian, even though I have a stupid French name. But here's the thing. Like, I from a libertarian perspective, I was appointed the managing director of the American Institute for Economic Research, the Bastia Society in Switzerland. This is basically a libertarian think tank. And the reason why I think Switzerland is doing it the right way is because it's a principled regulation. It doesn't mean that the law is just like set on stone. It's basically, okay, so what are the principles that we're using? And here, I think the principle has to be like free market competition and basically, best practice when it comes to that. So if there was a regulation to put through, I would say, first of all, not have necessarily the bureaucrats decide for it, but the industry decide like what's the best practice and whether or not they accept it or not. And then usually, as we move through what we're seeing now, we will definitely be learning that, we want more transparency, we want more ownership, we want self-custody and things like that,
But we don't want more transparency and everything.
Hold on a minute.
Celsius doxed all their users. Celsius gave away the addresses and names of all of their users and all of their crypto addresses because you use timing analysis.
So that's another thing. And I think it has a lot to do with the US dollar, because when you use the US dollar, you basically depend on the US Treasury. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way the world works, right? Now, the other role I have at the UNITU, which is I'm trying to push for the free market enterprise system perspective on how CBDCs are being built, and I can tell. I mean, I can tell you on the closed doors, the conversation goes as such. I mean, the interoperability, and the big problem here is that every single central bank is doing their own little CBDC, and there's a big issue as to how they can work. And here's the problem. Some of them want more or less what they call programmability, which is basically they can do whatever they want with it. And some of them want more or less privacy, right? And so I personally think nobody wants their product, but ultimately they're the ones who will crack on the people like Tether when even if they were backed one-to-one, they would just come and say, well, we have the FedCoin now and you're illegal because we said so, right? And that's just the way the world works. So, I don't think, if there's any regulator listening here, I would say, don't necessarily regulate for the sake of regulation. I mean, you can do announcements and all of that, but I think the best regulator is the free market. As you go through trial and error, usually that's what you get.
Just got some breaking news here from the Federal Reserve. This is the second Federal Reserve official to come out today to speak about the crypto markets. Federal Reserve Barr says a crypto asset related activity requires effective oversight. That includes safeguards to ensure that crypto companies are subject to similar regulatory safeguards as other financial services providers. Recent events remind us of the potential for systemic risk if interlinkages develop between the crypto system that exists today and the traditional financial system. Yes, okay, and the Fed is, okay, that's what they had. Okay, so that is the end of their statement, Federal Reserve Bar there on the crypto side.
Yeah, guys, I mean, look, at the end of the day, what they're really saying, and I hope that's what they're really saying, is that there is rules already. You just need to apply them and see if they work where in the crypto sphere. I mean, most of the issues we're seeing now, it is already illegal. Like appropriate customers' funds, you don't need to make a new law here. It's already illegal. Not segregating the customers' funds from your funds, that's illegal. You don't need to regulate more here. You just need to apply the law. So, the first thing is like, let's not like try to push for somewhat of a regulation just because it sounds nice to say that.
I don't think you know how bad the law sucks, though. Normal banks are fractionally reserved and need insurance to make up for the suck.
Like
I'm just saying that
is not adding on top of the regulation that
yeah.
there is.
But there are, Richard,
in Switzerland, there's a lot of
no, but USDC insurance only covers you up to 300 grand.
No, but you're confusing banking with custody and trust laws. The custody and trust laws would completely prevent you from even rehypothecating. So all these laws do exist. Securities
I like
laws
that.
exist.
I like that, and I would agree with you if you called them trust and custody laws and not banking laws. My point is that those laws that you like would protect users, and I probably would support those for crypto exchanges. I think those would be good laws. Stop commingling funds. Treat the people's stuff as their actual stuff.
They already exist. It's just exchanges aren't following the laws.
The license.
No, but they're not even registered in the United States. Who gives a shit what the United States law is? They're not even registered in the United States.
Exactly. There's
Yeah, but
always
those
gonna
custody
be
laws
regulatory arbitrage.
exist outside the United States, and the United States has the IMF and FATF that enforces all regulations on all other regulators. So these things already exist. It's just
No, but no one will
what's happening.
register where they exist. So FTX was in the Bahamas.
They exist
Exactly.
everywhere. Like
BitMEX is in Seychelles.
Ultimate-
Where's Binance? Lol. Nowhere.
I mean, ultimately,
That's not true.
ultimately, there's always going to be.
Where's Binance? I want to serve them
Go ahead.
something. Where are they?
So
Give me their
Go
address.
ahead, Gabriel. Go ahead, Gabriel.
I was saying that the Binance has multiple corporate registrations around the world. Bahrain.
Well, that's funny because we filed a lawsuit against them for us being gate capped at number 201 in CoinMarketCap for 3 fucking years now. No matter what our market cap really is, we're always number 201. Lol. That sounds like a lie and fraudulent to me. And we have a lawsuit against them.
If you look at their terms and conditions, you won't find an address. They do have certain segregated parts, but it is incredibly hard to decipher.
Well, I'll give you a concrete example.
And it's even more dangerous when you portray yourself as regulated in one area and then you don't disclose what area that is. And I think like Kim was calling CZ up on some of those things with BUSD and FDIC disclosures and various other things. I think so, Richard. I think what we're saying is that you're giving the argument for what I think. There is going to be onboarding.
There are good laws, and I think custody and trust laws are the best of the bunch as far as helping exchanges stop stealing customers' money.
Yeah, so those regulations all exist, and there's centralized companies. So when the Fed's coming out and saying they need to have a similar standard, they're basically just saying when you're selling securities, comply with securities laws. When you're doing custody and trust, comply with custody and trust laws. If you're doing banking, then comply with banking laws. And if you're doing lending, comply with lending laws. All these laws exist because everything that just happened right now happened in the 1930s. So we've seen everything before, but no one's complying with them. But then there's another part to it, which is very true what Richard is saying, that we need who regulates the regulator, and the answer to that is you have your centralized regulations, which are all needed in an environment where humans can do things off chain, but you also need the check and control upon the abuse of freedoms and privacies and everything that the centralized systems and central bank digital currencies will take away from us, which is why you have to give people voluntary opt-out of the financial system. So you need Bitcoin, you need DeFi, and applying the same rules to those is not going to take us in the right direction. It's going to completely violate the Constitution, and it's going to move America further and further away at a time when it's trying to compete with changing empires from the very same things that made America what it was.
The most decentralized governance and fair governance you can find is the market, period. I mean, there is no other way. And I think we have now increasingly the technology to kind of like decentralize those decision making, like basically asking the cryptosphere, hey, do you think there's something wrong here? Do you think we can like have more transparency? Yes, no. Do you think we should segregate the funds and then have them like constantly surveyed so that we can check them and not necessarily just trust your word? Yes, no. So there is mechanisms that will be put in place in the crypto world. What I'm afraid of is that this is actually a better system than what we have now in the traditional system. And if you go on to try to kill that because the bad actors, right, and then you try to go into the traditional system, which is actually worse and even more opaque, and I don't think we're making any progress here.
Yeah, and that's why you need both, because there will be moments when our industry, just like right now, completely fails, and there'll be decentralization failure. There'll be those things, and so if our industry gets too scammy, too crazy, and burns people too much, then there needs to be the opt-out from this shit at the same time. So you need to have the two systems to keep each other honest, because you need more honest fiat currency and you need more honest decentralization. The two need to coexist, because at times you'll get a bit of a pendulum of failures.
I mean, it's creative destruction. We're not reinventing the world here. It's Schumpeter creative destruction. So I think it's a healthy thing. Like, the purge is the purge, and we've seen some, and I think this is another one of those. And then, in the end, the purge just lets you know which one of the players are actually acting appropriately, and then you
We
build
get-
a track record.
We got a huge framing problem, guys. A huge framing problem. Something we could address and actually do easily. Crypto is doing great. Crypto is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, we're back to the price of a few years ago. Fine. So is everything else. Everything else is back to a few years ago price too. Crypto is doing its job amazingly with near 100% uptime in the real cryptos. Mine's up 100% of the time. Ethereum's up nearly 100% of the time because it's upgraded the network, and Bitcoin's up about 100% of the time. Normal finance isn't. Crypto did not fail here. What failed is the trashy, garbage, middleman stuff that crypto solves. And it's a huge framing error that everyone has made, making it look like these centralized scumbags opposite of crypto stuff is somehow a failure of crypto. It's not. Crypto is doing its job awesome. Its price are back to a few years ago, and its price is still the best performing asset that's ever existed. Ethereum is still up 300,000%. Bitcoin is still up
crypto, how much
6 million percent.
How much would you say in crypto is actually decentralized?
I think unless you're holding the native token of a chain or something that's extremely well audited, you're very likely to be exposing yourself to admin key risk or centralized counterparty risk. So for instance, if you use something that has a price oracle, some guy runs the oracle server, that ain't real DeFi. If you're using something with an upgradable contract with a proxy, that ain't real DeFi. Anyone can screw it anytime.
And what
if
if
you're
you
doing
got
stuff
something
with DAOs?
What if you got something decentralized and most of it is staked on an exchange?
It depends on the risk profile of the exchange of what their fear is.
But if everyone puts their Ethereum or a massive chunk of Ethereum can't be asked to figure out how to stake, puts it on the exchange, those exchanges are regulated. Do you think that's decentralized?
No,
That's a good point.
it's not. It's not decentralized. It's extra
and then
risk.
if someone launched a token on top of that, is that decentralized?
It depends on what the counterplay is once they execute the bad thing. So I invented a term called just-in-time security. And what it means is that if you're there's a lot of proof of stake networks that operate with 21 nodes. And then if, doors start getting kicked in, then you can change the number. And you're like, oh, the feds are kicking.
Who can change that?
Well, the same way you upgrade any consensus network, the nodes just vote on it and they just run the new software. So like in Bitcoin, there's a BIP that they used for signaling what parts of a new upgrade they'll accept. So there's a whole system for signaling what upgrades you're okay with in Bitcoin. Ethereum has not a BIP system for it, but the guys that run. So for instance, you're trying to say Ethereum's dangerous, and I'm going to tell you that that's analogous to Bitcoin pools. So in a Bitcoin pool, if they start to be evil and get too much hash rate, you can remove your hash rate from that pool and reintroduce decentralization just in time. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but just-in-time security works for a lot of things. So for instance, what if the government starts doing SHA-256 mining and 51% attacking blocks are just mining only empty blocks? Then you can do a proof of work change just in time. What if everyone sent their coins to Coinbase and Coinbase just starts censoring transactions? Then you fork the network, you remove Coinbase's coins because they were a bad actor, and you go ahead with the fork. These are all socially enforced networks, and any evil that tries to step in is removed by the social aspect.
Do you think Ethereum was more likely to be decentralized under proof of work or proof of stake?
I would say proof of work, but I'm unsure how centralized that actually was. So I mean, it's.
So Ethereum has probably gone less decentralized and it's been a downgrade to the system.
Well, no, it's an upgrade because all people care about is mad gains, and as long as it's centralized enough,
but you're saying everyone needs to be using their own keys and.
No, but dude, if it gets bad, you just fork the network. They already did this once before, right? There used to be the real Ethereum is Ethereum Classic, but they decided not to let the quote-unquote hacker get paid. Not that he really was a hacker.
Do you think the ESG narrative might have contributed to centralizing Ethereum and making it more easy to attack and control?
I think that it's going to flip Bitcoin within the next year and a half to 2 years, and then
we're going to have the number one token is going to all be on exchange, most likely to be all on exchanges.
Well, here's the
You're going
good
to get
news,
the
bro.
opposite of
I
what
made
you're
a
asking
copy
for.
of that network, and maybe my guys are smarter and don't stick all their coins on exchanges.
You
So
could do a little DEX or something. Guys, what's up with SBF who posted the N letter? Like, what's that?
I couldn't understand what you said. What letter?
Well, SBF just posts like letter by letter, and then he posted
I'm
with
trying.
N.
I'm trying to ignore the whole SBF letter thing because it just seems such a silly
But like,
attention grabbing.
like his mental health.
Has he done
It
another letter?
spells out happen if you want to work it out. That helps in anything, but yeah.
We had Martin Scorelli come on, and because he's been through a kind of similar situation.
Backdoor trolling.
Yeah. So, but we had Martin's thoughts on it. We had the insider come on yesterday, spend a couple of hours giving us his thoughts. It just if we kind of conclude that it's most likely him grabbing attention. I know there's a few conspiracy theories, but we got caught our attention. I said I'll never mention it again, but it seems to keep coming up every time he posts a letter, so he's winning. But I would definitely get back to the topic. But I want
So
to
guys,
go.
basically the one thing you can all do is frame this as a failure of centralized crap and not crypto. Crypto is doing great. Centralized crap is not.
Richard, you said that you think that Ethereum will flip Bitcoin. I'm curious to know your other reasons why. And by the way, great line of questioning, Simon. But I'm very curious. You said that I believe that too.
The parade of imaginary horribles rarely comes true. The parade of imaginary horribles rarely comes true. All of these blockchain softwares are pretty crap, to tell you the truth, and all of them can be attacked. You can do Eclipse attacks, you can do denial of service attacks. I mean, if you Google Bitcoin critical vulnerabilities, they've had endless critical vulnerabilities, but the majority of them were fixed and patched before anyone bothered to do them because it's not profitable about it to do them. You'd be better off
Richard,
taking your...
Tara Bull would like to ask you a question. That's okay.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Tara, the mic is yours. Can you hear us?
I can hear everyone except Richard, so unfortunately spaces are awful and need a lot of work done to them.
For you.
Close your app and come back, and we'll move you up as speaker again.
Yeah, one thing you could do, Tara, is I'm gonna DM you an invite. So don't put your hand up. So drop down, shut down the app, DM you when that's done, and I'll send you an invite via DM, Tara.
I've only done that like 15 times just to get up here, but I'll try again. And I'm also gonna DM Elon Musk and ask him to please fix Twitter Spaces for all of our sake.
It actually glitched for him. It glitched for Elon Musk when he was in the space a couple of days ago.
So basically,
Yeah,
just-in-time
I was here.
security means that most of these threats never happen. They just don't. You can 51% attack works. No, they almost never do. So this fear that Ethereum will somehow be 51% attacked is easily countered by the same social consensus that countered the DAO hacker. It's easily countered by the same social consensus that upgraded the network in the first place. And so if blockchain networks get attacked by bad guys, you just upgrade the software to counteract the bad guy doing stuff. And it's very robust, to tell you the truth. It's the way that you tell that Bitcoin's a real Bitcoin, because there's longer chains, but they don't have as much chain weight. And what measures the chain weight? The humans do. So a lot of these attacks, you don't really have to worry about them. I tell you that the emission rate of Ethereum being nearly negative, having almost no inflation at all, while Bitcoin is still at 2% or 1.79 or something like that, it's a really big deal. And if Bitcoiners' main claim to fame is, we're hard money, our inflation keeps going down. Well, I got bad news for you. Ethereum has less inflation than you now. And all the devs, and all the projects, and all the on-ramping, and all the features, and all the stable coins. It has everything. And it did way better than its previous all-time high. 1,500 to 5,000 is a much better jump than 20K to 69K. So, Ethereum's going to murder Bitcoin in this next bull run. Wouldn't it be funny if that rainbow chart just went all the way into the ground? Lol, I hope not, but it's good.
Ninja, you have a
Hey,
question?
Richard, you said something that I think is quite true. You said that crypto isn't broken. Crypto isn't the problem, and I totally agree with you. What is the problem is how crypto has been used as a speculative asset, with all these middlemen and all these, clowns and their scams and, promotions. I mean, if none of that would have happened and we would have just used crypto as it was intended, as a new means of payment and control of our own financial freedom, we wouldn't be in this shit show right now. You know, we're probably, in all these years that crypto's already here, if we would have focused on actually using it the way it was intended, we may have already replaced the outdated, corrupt financial system that we're living under. You know, so I find it really refreshing that you remind us that crypto is fine. It's just how we're using it is bad.
Well, I think a way of having hard money in order to counter the wealth destruction that's created by fiat currency, and have the ability to save in something that's more easy to audit and more easy to send than gold. I think that's a really, really important use case. And if we just created another payment rails, then everybody's stablecoin would be inflating away at the same rate that the dollar's inflated away, and to produce an exit for savings and bring savings back into the economy is important.
There's no inflating away, because we're not printing most cryptos. I mean, there's some inflationary cryptos.
Yeah, but you're talking about
the reason why we have inflation in fiat is because there's endless money printing, and will just continue until it's worthless.
There's endless money printing in crypto, but as long as your expenses are in a different currency to the one that you're trying to save in, you will always have Gresham's law, and humans will always spend the money that they think goes down in value and save the money that they think goes up in value, and you can't change that. And it's why stable coins are the only thing that got adoption in as a medium of exchange, because unless things are priced in the same currency, you'll always make those kind of rational decisions, or try and then you end up in the situation where you're just using crypto in order to accumulate more dollars, which is what creates a speculative frenzy.
It's literally just greed that is fucking ourselves. We're not going to get more freedoms, peace around the world, all the progress that crypto is promising, because we're just greedy fuckers.